Joining us now is Elie Mystal, justice correspondent for The Nation. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thanks for having me.
There's so many problems here, as I stipulated in all of our coverage, and again tonight. Mr. Gaetz denies all the allegations and has not been charged with a crime. And yet all these people around him who know him and these other Republicans in Trump world are bailing on him. What do you see here?
Yeah, it seems like Department of Justice investigation means something different when you don't have the Attorney General on his own leash, right? Suddenly, a DOJ investigation carries more teeth. And I think that's what we're seeing. I think one thing that people have kind of missed over, because look, Matt Gaetz, for a lot of people on the left, he's a punchline. He's a guy that people on the left like to dislike. So I think part of what's gotten missed here is that there's already been an indictment here, right? The indictment is for a man named Joel Greenberg, who has been indicted for sex trafficking and goes on trial in June. This investigation from Gaetz is spinning off from that. And so when you look at the real teeth of this investigation, it certainly doesn't stack up well for Matt Gaetz. And again, you're exactly right. Innocent until proven guilty. We don't know all the facts here. It doesn't look great for Gaetz right now. And then you're in the situation where there's all this other kind of untoward behavior that's coming out, all these leaks that are coming out. It suggests that this is a guy that even if the Trump world was willing to defend him when he was useful for them, they knew he had some things about him, right? Turns out you can't get the Trump protection unless you actually marry into the family. Right? Gaetz just tried to kiss the boots into the family. No, you have to marry into the family to get the full protection of Trump world. He's not part of the family, which means that he can be cast aside the minute he causes them trouble. And this is that minute for him.
Yeah, he's certainly not getting that protection. As for what he's saying in public, he's always been a somewhat extreme and baroque figure, even in America 2017 to 2020, a period of American life that I'm sure will be studied in all sorts of ways. But extreme even by that measure. And Neil Katyal joined us recently and said, whatever you think of Matt Gaetz, any decent lawyer would tell him not to be out here talking the way he is, not to be doing the Tucker interview. And so I'm curious your view on in the intersection of law and politics that, okay, sometimes you break with the legal advice to get the public PR benefit. And it's kind of a bet, if you will. What happens if you break with the legal advice and the PR is boomeranging on you and you played yourself and Tucker is telling his own audience, that was weird, that was a problem?
We're going to see this a lot for the next bit of American life. And what we're seeing is people trying to run the Trump defense without being Donald Trump, right? We're going to see a lot of politicians who are accused of sordid behavior. Trump has been accused by 25 women of sexual misconduct. He has brushed it all off with bluster and ridiculous interviews, right? Every politician accused is going to try some version of the same strategy, right? And we don't know if that's going to work for anybody else other than Donald Trump. If it doesn't work for you, if you try the Trump strategy and it doesn't work for you, the result is jail, right? It's a one-way street there, right? If you try to blow off prosecutors and keep running your mouth against the advice of counsel and keep kind of putting yourself in legal jeopardy and it doesn't work, the result is jeopardy. The result is jail. The result is bad things happening to you. And that's the die that Gaetz is casting. That's the die that we'll see, I think, unfortunately, a lot of politicians cast as they try to go Trump light to get themselves out of problems.
Have you seen Dark Knight, Elie?
I have indeed. Success has already defeated me. I don't know about you.
Well, it's one of our favorites around here. And to put a twist on it, I'm reminded of when the Batman copycats, who are actually opposed by both Batman and the Joker for different reasons, want to be like him. And then they even ask him after they fail to simulate him in the crime-busting scene, what's the difference between me and you? And he memorably says, I'm not wearing hockey pants. There it is. There it is.
That's the difference.
That's it. If it were Fallback Friday, I'd ask you to do it in your Dark Knight Christian Bale voice, but we'll save that. But I'm not wearing hockey pants, and whether people like it or not, it is a legal fact. I certainly spent time reporting on it, and you were here with us, that Donald Trump did get away legally with some things that other people didn't. But when you point it out, I think it's important and interesting, and maybe you're even inadvertently giving some sound legal framework to some of these folks, whether they want to follow it or not, which is the fact that one guy in this particular situation got away with so much does not mean that's usually going to work for you, Ellie.
Exactly, Ari. I mean, again, this is spinning off of an investigation of a man who is already under indictment, who, for all we know, as his trial gets going, if that's not going well for him, will sing. I mean, remember, Trump had the amazing, I would say, good fortune that none of his alleged accomplices ever seemed to flip on him, right? Paul Manafort took the weight. Michael Flynn took the weight. They took the risk of needing to get a pardon to never turn tail on Trump. Only Michael Cohen eventually was compelled to tell what I believe is the truth. He was the only one who didn't get a pardon, by the way. Does Gates have the same kind of pull with his potential accomplices that they're never going to flip on him? Does he really think that? I mean, these are the kinds of we're kind of back into a world where, you know, Trump defied gravity for so long. We're kind of back into a world where gravity always wins.
Gravity's back.
And that is what
gravity's
back
That's fair.
Has to worry about. Gravity.
Well, and you tied it all together well, Ellie, because gravity's back. Well, you reminded everyone that, you know, the people who knew the most, according to the Mueller report, which I read more than once, were Stone and Manafort, and they said the least. And the people who said the most may have known the least around those underlying allegations. I mean, Mueller clearly showed it right at the core of a potential collusion. Stone's on the phone. Manafort's got this money deal. And they really did carry the weight. And as you say, they did get the commutation benefits. Elie Mystal, good to see you. I hope we can get you back soon, sir. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.